Good morning. Hi, dear 5th primary students. Welcome back. Today we're going to tackle a new lesson called the passive voice. And we're going to tackle two tenses, the past and the present simple tenses. Okay? And it's one of the very easy lessons once you get to tackle it as a little game. You're going to take about 3 steps in order to turn a sentence from the active voice to the passive voice, and you can treat it as a game. I do, and it's very easy. So let's see. The first part, the usages of the passive voice. We use the passive voice for 3 things. What are they? When we want to emphasize the action rather than who does it. Like, the building is cleaned every day. Here, I care about the action of the building being cleaned rather than caring about the people who clean it. So I want to stress the action more than I want to stress the person or the people who do it. Okay? Number 2, when we don't know who does the action. I have no idea who did that action. Like, rubbish is always thrown on the streets. Do I know who threw rubbish on the streets? Of course not. A lot of people do. So when I don't know who did the action. And when it's obvious who did the action. God or all humans were created equal. Who created humans? God, of course. So I know who did the action. It's pretty obvious. So I don't have to say it in the sentence that God is the person or is the one who created all people. So it's not going to be mentioned. That's why the sentence is going to be in the passive voice. And the second part is the form. How do we form the passive voice? And before starting, we have to know, and each sentence has a subject, a verb, and an object. Like here, the subject is the doer of the sentence. Ahmed is the subject. And the verb is the action itself. Play or plays, that's the action, that's the verb. And the object is the receiver of the action, the thing or the person that received the action. What does Ahmed play? He plays football. So football is the object, okay? So each sentence has a subject, a verb, and an object. And this is a normal active voice sentence. So it goes the subject first, and then the verb, and then comes the object. And let's see how to turn an active sentence into a passive sentence. In a passive sentence, the object comes at the beginning of the sentence. So the normal sentence went as Ahmed plays football. And in here, the first step of our game is going to be the object comes first or comes at the beginning of the sentence. So instead of saying Ahmed plays football, football came first. Okay? And then the second step of our game, the subject comes at the end of the sentence preceded by the word by. So football came at the beginning, and then I changed the place of the subject of the sentence to the end of the sentence saying by Ahmed. And then the third and last step is changing the verb itself. So we replace the verb with verb to be in the same tense and the past participle. So in the present simple we add am or is or are, and then in the past simple we add was and were, and we add the past participle. We use the past participle before to form the present perfect, and you're going to use it now in order to form the passive voice. So football came first, by Ahmed came at the end, and then the verb was edited from plays, which is in the present simple, into am or is or are plus the past participle. In here, football is, of course, and the past participle of play is played, and then by Ahmed, and then that's the sentence. As easy as that. So I have to take care. If it's in the present simple, I add am or is or are. If it's in the past simple, I add was or were, and that's it. And the past participle. So first step, object comes first, then subject later in the sentence, preceded by the word by, and the verb is edited with verb to be plus the past participle. Sometimes a sentence has 2 objects. Like what? My mother, this is my subject, gave, that's the verb, and then me, that's the first object, and a present, that's the second object, and then the rest of the sentence goes as on my birthday. So in here, I have two objects. Object number one, me, and object number two, a present. So this sentence can be done in two ways. I can put the first object at the beginning, it becomes I, and then gave, that's the past simple, so I add was or were. I was, and then the past participle, given a present by my mother on my birthday. So I started with object number one, added verb to be in the past participle, then the second object, and then by my mother, or by and the subject, and then I completed the sentence normally. And the second way is adding object number two at the beginning. So a present was given, verb to be plus the past participle, to me by my mother on my birthday. So there goes the passive voice, and that's about all of it. The last part of it is changing the pronouns. When I have a subject pronoun, it turns into an object pronoun. Of course, and vice versa. If I have an object pronoun, I have to put it in at the beginning, I turn it into a subject pronoun. So I becomes me, he becomes him, she becomes her, it becomes it, we, us, they, them, you. Okay, and of course, if I have to put, if I have an object pronoun in the object part, and I want to put it into the passive voice, I change it into a subject pronoun. Okay, so these are examples for an active sentence changed into a passive sentence. Engineers build bridges. Who is the subject? Engineers. What's the verb? Build, and that's the present simple. Bridges, and that's the object. So the object comes first, bridges, am or is or are, and then the past participle, built by engineers. As easy as that. Number two, he bought the milk. So he, that's the subject, bought, that's the verb in the past simple, and the milk, that's the object. So I start with the object, the milk, and then the verb in the past simple, verb to be plus the past participle. The milk was bought by him, and that's an example of a subject pronoun turned into an object pronoun. And then the last one says, my mother made a cake yesterday. So the subject is my mother, made, that's the verb in the past simple, and a cake, that's the object, yesterday, that's the rest of the sentence or the time expression. So I start with the object, a cake, verb to be plus past participle, was made by my mother yesterday. Very simple, very easy, and you are perfect. I'm sure you're going to do it perfectly. In the negative sentence, we just add verb to be in the infinitive, in the negative. So the book wasn't torn by Ahmed. They weren't hit by a bus. By us, I'm sorry. The car isn't washed every week. Okay? And in the question, I start with verb to be. Are you read a story by your father every day? It means, does your father read you a story every day? And then, is the actor usually paid a lot of money? Was the castle built many years ago? So these are all examples for the passive, and now let's try it together. Now it's your turn to try. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds in order to try it. You can pause the video, try to solve it in the steps that we've said, and then let's discuss the answer. The first one says, he opens the door. Okay, so who is the subject? What's the verb? Who is the object? What comes first? What comes later? Excellent. The door is opened by him. Number two, she set the table. Excellent. The table was set by her. Number three, I pay a lot of money. Amazing. A lot of money is paid by me. Next, he didn't draw a picture. This is the negative, so take care. picture wasn't drawn by him. See, I put it in the negative. The last one, they wear blue shoes. Excellent. Blue shoes are worn by them. Okay, let's see what's coming next. They don't help you. Also negative. You aren't helped by them. Ahmed didn't open the book. Amazing. The book wasn't opened by Ahmed. You do not write the letter. The letter isn't written by you. And the next one says, does your mom pick you up? And that's a question. This is the first question we have. So take care. You're starting with verb to be. Are you picked up by your mom? And that's it, okay. Did the police officer catch the thief? It's a question in the past. So, excellent work. Was the thief caught by the police officer? That's it. Let's see what. Now we've corrected the verbs. They often listen to music. So is this an active voice sentence or a passive voice sentence? At first I started with the subject normally, and in here this is an active voice sentence, of course, and that's why we're going to add the verb normally, not the verb to be plus the past participle. So they often listen. She read the newspaper now. So I have the object at the beginning and I have the word now, so this is the present continuous. So she is reading. These cars produce in Japan. Do I know who produces the cars? Of course not. So this is a passive voice sentence, and these cars are produced in Japan. Alan teaches geography. So who teaches geography? Alan. So this is an active voice sentence, and it goes as Alan teaches geography. The next one, German speak in Australia. Do I know who speaks German in Australia? I do know the Australians, but I didn't mention that. I spoke about German at the beginning, so that's the object. So is spoken. Lots of houses destroyed by the earthquake in 1906. So what's going to happen here? Of course, you got the hang of it right now. Excellent. Were destroyed. Henry Ford invented the assembly line. Invented. Excellent. The bus driver hurt yesterday. Who hurt him? So, was hurt yesterday. Boys to play soccer. Exactly, that's an active voice sentence. Boys like to play soccer. A letter write to her some days ago. This is the past simple. So a letter was written to her some days ago, because I don't know who wrote the letter. So that's the end of today's video. Thank you for listening.